where we're going to be looking at the different points today of how you can avoid getting into an abusive relationship with an abusive person who has nothing to do with being in your circle. As soon as you step into a relationship or with someone who suddenly gives you everything, makes you all of these promises right from the get-go, tells you how much they love you, how much they need you, how much they would do anything for you, very likely that might be a manipulation tactic. And oftentimes this is used by insecure people, by narcissists, to try and get you to fall for them quicker so that they're able to use you quicker. Remember that a bad person with bad intentions is never going to want to postpone being a good person too long, okay? Which means they're not going to come in with the slow, gentle love. They're going to come in quickly with as much love as possible, doing everything for you, offering to drive you here, offering for you to stay at their place there, getting you whatever you want, answering your texts immediately, because they don't want to pretend to be a good person for long, so they're going to get this over with as quick as possible. That is love bombing, and love bombing is a form of manipulation because they're trying to get you to fall for them as quickly as possible so that they know they've got their finger wrapped around you, and that is wrong. So if you start a relationship and the person you're with starts doing all of these things for you really quickly, you will know whether or not they're being genuine. And if your gut is telling you that something is off, then listen to your gut, because your gut usually never lies. There's something deep inside you that knows when to protect you, knows when you're in danger, and if it's telling you that this person is off, that there's something you can't really trust, then leave that relationship before it gets worse. The second point is this. A bad person who you're entering a relationship will very oftentimes play the victim in every other relationship and situation they've been in. They're gonna come into the relationship, you're gonna ask them about their past, and they're always gonna tell you how they were the victim in every relationship they've been in. They're gonna tell you how past relationship abused them. They're gonna tell you how they were always mistreated. They're gonna tell you how they have no friends. And this is their way of making you feel bad for them and making you feel sorry for them so that you're more willing and more likely to do anything for them. If they're telling you they've been in 5 relationships, but every relationship ended because they were being abused, is that really believable? Is that really something that you can look at and be like, oh yeah, that's likely, that's genuine? No, not really. You need to ask deeper questions. If they're telling you that their past relationship abused them, ask them for concrete examples. Ask them for specifics, go into detail, because if they're lying to you, they're gonna get flustered, they're gonna come up with something, they're gonna not know what to say and how to answer all of your questions, and then you'll know that they're lying. And if they're lying, that's an immediate red flag. If you end up in a relationship with someone and you catch them lying from the start, get out of that relationship immediately, because that person is not trustworthy and that is not someone you can build a life with. The third point is this: they make you doubt yourself, and that's also gaslighting. If you get into a relationship with someone and they pretty early on start telling you that, oh no, I know better, you should do my way. Are you sure you've done this before? I don't know if you're gonna be able to do this. You don't really seem like the kind of, stop it right there. They're gaslighting you. They're making you feel insecure about yourself so that you rely on them more, so that they're able to keep you in a position of you being vulnerable so that they're able to use you. Do not fall for that. Remember that them telling you you're too sensitive is their way of projecting on you that they're not able to take your sensitivity. You're not too sensitive. You're not too annoying. You're not incapable. Them telling you these things is them projecting and is basically them saying that they're not capable, and it's not something that you need to ever or should ever listen to. Don't listen to someone who's trying to project their insecurities onto you and who's trying to make you feel lesser than you are. Do not tolerate that. A true partner who loves you and cares about you, motivate you and help you feel more than you are, will inspire you to become more than you are, will not limit you and shrink you and tell you that you're not capable. What on earth is that? If you start feeling crazy because you start feeling like, oh, I thought I knew so much and suddenly I don't, likelihood is that it's them trying to play tricks on you and trying to manipulate you into feeling that way. That's gaslighting. That is wrong, and that is not something you should be taking seriously. Let it go and let them go at the same time. And the fourth point is this, and I think this is something that is actually more relevant to women, but it can also be very relevant to men, is that is control being masqueraded as care. If you have a partner who is holding you back from everything that you did with your life before they came into it, if they're telling you, I don't want you to hang out with these people anymore, I don't want you doing this, I don't want you going there, very oftentimes that is probably them trying to control you. And it's not always and while it's not always the case, for example, let's say you're a man and you have a bunch of female friends and you get into a relationship with a woman and she tells you, I don't want you having all these female friends. That is a fair point if you think about it, because she's insecure about it, she feels unsafe, and you respecting her is you not hanging out with these female friends. If she tells you, I don't want you hanging out with your cousins, with your siblings, with your parents, with your other male friends, I don't want you hanging out with your colleagues, then that is her trying to control you. And that is something you need to be aware of. Oftentimes, a bad person, a narcissistic person will try and isolate you. And if they're trying to isolate you from the world, if they're trying to control everything you're doing, everything you have, if they're controlling your phone, if they're controlling where you're going, they're probably insecure, deeply insecure, and they probably have been hurt in the past. But that is not something you have to tolerate and deal with just because they have been through some hard things. Don't let someone control you and then try and masquerade it as they care about you. They might care about you, but they might also be abusing you. They might also have some really ill-intentional plans. They might also deeply just want you all to themselves and to control everything you're doing and everything you have and everywhere you're going, and that will make you miserable. So don't tolerate it. Fifth point is this, and this is super obvious. If you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells around them, if you constantly feel uneasy about telling them things, about asking them for things, about asking their opinion on things, you already know that is a bad relationship, because that means that they blow up, that means that they have anger issues, and that means they're someone untrustworthy. Do not stay with someone long term if they're always making you feel insecure, if they're always making you feel unsettled. Yes, sometimes they might be stressed. Yes, sometimes there might be a period where they're not able to handle any of your emotions, but this doesn't mean that it's something that you can sustain long term. And if they're always acting like that and they're always making you feel unsafe and unsettled, leave that relationship. Is not good for you. Remember this, you don't have to wait for the bruises, you don't have to wait for the actual pain to come before you decide to leave an abusive relationship. You can leave when you start noticing that you're not feeling settled, that you're not feeling comfortable, and that you're not feeling safe in that relationship. You can leave when you start seeing the first signs of abuse. You don't have to wait for them to cheat on you, to betray you, to hurt you. You can leave in the beginning. You don't have to stay with someone and waste your life with someone just because they're broken and you're trying to fix them. Newsflash, you won't be able to fix them. Only they can fix themselves if they choose to. Try to remember that if you've ignored the red flags before, it doesn't mean you have to ignore them forever, and that you are worthy of a healthy, loving relationship with the right person who is good for you. Stay tuned for the next video and see you very soon.